Hello guys, welcome back to CeeFashion once again. Today I'll be teaching us how to cut a jumpsuit. So please, I want you guys to make sure you focus. For those that know me very well, you guys know that I like to explain things in details in a way that you will understand it. Even a layman, even a beginner will understand it. So I want you guys to make sure you watch this video to the end so as to unveil all the secrets about a jumpsuit. Okay, so before we start, I want you guys to make sure you click on that subscribe button. If you are new to this channel, make sure you click on that subscribe button. It is free of charge. I want you to click on that subscribe button so that whenever we post a new video, you'll be the first to be notified. Also, make sure you click on that like button, because the more you click on that like button, the more others get to see this video, the more even you get to see this video as a suggested video. Thank you very much. Okay, the first thing we do now is, as you guys can see, this is our measurement. So we start from what? Shoulder is what? 14 inches for the jumpsuit. Now the round bust of the jumpsuit is what? 34 inches. The round under bust of the jumpsuit is 30 inches. The bust length of the jumpsuit is what? 9 inches. The under bust length is 12 inches. The half length is what? 15 inches. Okay, now the round waist is 29 inches. The round hip is what? 36 inches. The jumpsuit length is 50 inches. This place is not that too tall. Now the thigh is 22 inches. The knee is what? 34 inches slash what? 16 inches. 34 is the what? The knee length from the shoulder, while 16 inches is the what? The round knee. Now the ankle is 14 inches. Okay, so as we are going to cut a jumpsuit, first of all, I want you to know about jumpsuit. What is really a jumpsuit? A jumpsuit is just a dress that we have a normal top bodice. As you guys can see, this is a normal top bodice. We have trouser joined together at the what? Half length. That makes a what? A jumpsuit. Like I said, a jumpsuit is normal top bodice joined with what? Trouser at the half length. That makes a jumpsuit. Okay, so we are going to be doing this now. First of all, we are going to be constructing the what? The upper bodice. Then after constructing the upper bodice, we are now going to construct the what? The trouser of the jumpsuit. Then in which, while sewing it, you join both of them together. Okay, as you guys can see, you can also see a picture here. Now look at this one. Instead of this one being a trouser, this one is a short. Now I want you guys to know, and I know most of us don't actually know this thing now. Now you normally hear play suit instead of jumpsuit. Play suit is just like a jumpsuit, just that the down part is a short instead of a trouser. The one of trouser is called jumpsuit, while the one of short is called what? Play suit. So now we are going to be constructing the upper bodice. Okay, with this measurement we have now. Okay, so in order to cut the upper bodice of the jumpsuit, the first thing we do is to do what? We fold our fabric. As we know, that is normally the first step after measurement. Okay, so in order to fold this fabric, we'll be making use of our what? The highest circumference. Now in this case, the highest circumference for the upper bodice is what? The round bust, which is what? 34 inches. Now what you are going to do is now what? 34 divided by 4. Which is going to give you 8.5. So please now add extra 5 inches to it. Now this 5 inches is for the what? Material folding allowance. Remember what I said? I said the 5 inches is for the what? Material folding allowance. Okay, 34 inches divided by 4, which is what? 8.5 inches plus 5, which is going to give us what? 13.5 inches. So now we have 13.5 inches. Okay, now measure it out like this. 13.5 inches. Are you seeing it? Mark it out. Now also take it here in order to get a straight line. 13.5. Mark it out. So after marking it out, next thing you're going to do is to do what? To fold your fabric. As you can see, I've actually done what? Folded my fabric. So the next thing you are going to do after folding, which is what? The second step, is to do what? Mark out your measurement points. Okay. Next thing you are going to do after folding your material is to do what? Mark out the measurement points. Now in order for you to mark out your measurement points, we have the shoulder. From shoulder to the what? Bust point. From shoulder to the what? Under bust point. And from shoulder to the what? Half length. Okay, now look at it now. Shoulder, we start from here. Are you seeing it? Shoulder to the bust length is what? Is 9 inches. Are you seeing it? Now mark out your what? 9 inches. Mark it out. Are you seeing it? Okay, now also take your tape here, mark out that same 9 inches. Please, the reason why we are marking it out into 2 is to do what? To get a straight line. Okay, now take your rule and do what? Connect. Okay, as you guys know, if I did not mark it into 2, I might mistakenly place my tape like this, thereby not getting a straight line. So that's why I'm doing it into 2. Okay, the next thing is to do what? To mark out your what? Under bust line. Okay, to mark out your under bust line, that as we have here is what? 12 inches. So now from here, mark out your what? 12 inches. As you can see, do the same thing. mark it out into 2 in order to get a what? A straight line. Also do the same thing at the what? Waistline. Okay, take your rule and do what? Connect. Mark out your what? Waistline. Waistline. Now look at this thing now. The half length of a jumpsuit is either you measure it or you use a what? A standard, which I normally use a particular standard. Now, how do I see? Look at it now. The half length is 15 inches. You can either measure it or you do it like this. Now, you can either use your what? Under bust length, add extra 3 inches to it. Whatever your under bust length is, add extra 3 inches to it. Like as you can see, the under bust length of this one is what? 12 inches. Add extra 3 inches to it, making it what? 15 inches. That's how I got this what? Half length. Okay. So, but please, you can actually do what? Measure yours. Or use whatever, you know, customers always have a point whereby they want their half length to start. You can as well use that particular one. Okay, so you mark out your what? 15 inches. Okay, so after marking out the 15 inches, you can as well add your what? Extra half inch seam allowance to it. Half or extra 1 inch. You understand? You can as well add your what? Extra half inch or 1 inch seam allowance. But for the sake of this particular tutorial, I'll be making use of what? 1 inch allowance. Okay, so in this case, we have our what? Shoulder line, we have our what? Bust line, we have our what? Under bust line, and we have our what? Waistline or jumpsuit half length. Okay, now this one is the what? The allowance. Okay, so next thing we are going to do now is to do what? We are going to mark out our shoulder. Now in this case, the shoulder is what? 14 inches. Now, what you are going to do is what? 14 divided by 2 is what? 7 inches. Okay, so now mark out your 7 inches and add extra half inch allowance for the what? Shoulder stroke sleeve seam allowance, making it what? 7.5. Okay, please also take it down, do the same thing, mark out what? 7.5. Okay, now next thing you are going to do is to do what? Take your rule and do what? Connect. Now as you are connecting, remember, if you're working with material, you're connecting with your what? Chalk. You can also connect with your what? Soluble marker. Now in that case, as we are connecting, take this as a guide first of all, because it is at this point we are going to form our what? Armhole. Take it as a guide, so it's not ending at any particular point. Okay, so after marking out the shoulder, next thing we are going to do is to do what? Apply our what? Shoulder slope. You can also call it what? Shoulder slant. To apply it for female, we normally use either half inch or 1 inch. Okay, but for the sake of this particular tutorial, I'm going to use what? 1 inch. Okay, so in order to complete the shoulder slope, I mark out my what? Standard neck width. There is this standard neck width I normally use, which is what? 3 folded and what? 6 inches expanded. So now you have this point, you have this point. Next thing you are going to do is to do what? Take your rule and do what? Connect. Okay, after you finish connecting, you've actually formed the what? The shoulder slope. So next thing you are going to do is to do what? Mark out your what? Neck. That is the next step, is what? Construct your neck. So in order to construct our neck, we will construct your neck using what? The neck width and the what? Neck depth. These two things make up what I call the what? Neck block. Okay, now the neck width is on your own. You understand? It's on your own, whatever thing you want, depending on how wide you want your neck to be. But for the sake of this particular tutorial, I'll be making use of what? 4.5 folded. When you expand it is what? 9 inches. Okay, now look at my neck width. So for the neck depth, the same thing, depending on where you want your neck to end. You understand? If you want to show your cleavage, you can as well go down more. Okay, but for the sake of this particular tutorial, I'll be making use of what? 5. Okay, now look at, from here to here is your neck width. Take your rule and mark like this. Okay, from here to here is your what? Neck depth. Take your rule and do what? Connect. Okay, now we are done connecting. As you guys can see, we have our what? Neck block. Next thing we are going to do is to do what? Mark out our what we call the what? Neck curve. In order to curve our neck, please, I always have this method I usually use in order to what? Apply a curve on any part. Okay, what is the method? From here, are you seeing it? From this angle, place your tape diagonally, mark out 1 inch. Are you seeing it? Place your tape diagonally and mark out 1 inch. Look at it from here to here. Place your tape. Okay, now when you mark out 1 inch, all you are going to do is to do what? From here, connect and mark and make a what? A neck curve. Now, you can either use your free hand, like using your hand to curve it. You can use your what other curve sets. But for the sake of this tutorial, there is one thing I normally make use of, which is my what? My broomstick. Okay, if you want to make use of broomstick, this is how you make use of it. This is how you use it. Okay, place it like this, as you can see, from here to here. Okay, place it like this. Place it very well so that it is going to lap very well. Now place it from here to here. As you can see, I've actually placed it very well. Now do what? Connect. Now look at it. This is my what? Round neck. Okay, so after constructing the neck, the next thing we are going to do is to do what? To construct the armhole. Now, how do you construct the armhole? We construct the armhole making use of the what? The armhole length and the what? The armhole base. Now let's construct the armhole. In order to get your armhole length, there is this method I normally use. Whatever that you use on your shoulder, remember what we use? 7 inches plus what? Half inch, making it what? 7.5. Please also use the same thing. Take it down from this what? Slanted slope side. Please, not from up the upper part, from here. Are you seeing it? Mark out your what? 7.5. When you mark it out, take your rule and do what? Connect in order to form your what? Armhole base. I call it the what? Armhole base. This one is the what? Armhole length. This one is the what? Armhole base. Okay, after that, next thing you are going to do is to do what? Construct your what? Armhole curve. Now remember what I said while constructing the curve of this one. Whenever you want to get a curve, make use of this method. From this angle, diagonally mark out your what? 1 inch. Are you seeing it? Okay, when you mark it out, look at it now. When you mark it out, okay, that is it. So next thing we are going to do is to do what? Construct our what? Armhole. Now, in order to mark out the curve, you can as well make use of your what? Broomstick. Please, I'm not well positioned, so this broomstick is not going to be so much comfortable for me to mark, but I'm still going to make use of it. Okay, now place it like this. Are you seeing it? Place it like this. Okay, place it like this and do what? Connect. As you can see, I've actually connected my what? Armhole. This is my what? Armhole. Okay, but there is this another thing I want to introduce to us. It is called the what? The armhole effect. Now, what is the armhole effect? It is an effect which is applied at the armhole region in order to reduce what? Excess puffings at the what? Armhole region. Now, let me give you an example. Sometimes you notice that you see some persons when they are wearing a clothes, you see that armhole region very folded. You understand? It folded in a way that you don't like it. So how do you reduce it totally on a garment? You reduce it by what? Adding what we call what? Armhole effect. Now, this armhole effect is only applied in front of the what? A cloth, not at the back. Now, look at it. This is the original armhole. This one now is going to stay at the back, while the armhole effect will be effected in front. Now, let's effect that armhole effect now. Okay, in order to put your what? Armhole effect. Now, what you are going to do is to do what? Look at it. The distance from here to here, which is your what? Armhole length, divide it into 2. Look at it from here. I've actually divided into 2. Okay, then after dividing into 2, place your tape like this and step back by what? Half inch or what? 3/4 inch. But I'm going to use what? Half inch here. Okay, are you seeing it? Now we have this point, we have this point, and we have this point. What we are going to do now is to do what? Connect. So in order to connect, look at it, place your tape like this. Are you seeing it? And connect. Okay, let me position myself very well. Okay, as you can see, I've actually constructed my what? Armhole effect. Now, look at what I said. While cutting out this cloth, we first of all cut out from here. Are you seeing it? Which after we cut out only this one in front. Please, I want you to know that. Okay, let's continue. So after cutting out the armhole, which we are done with the what? Armhole. Next thing we are going to do is to do what? Impute our what? Body circumference. Now, look at it. Our round bust is what? 34 inches divided by 4, which will give us what? 8.5. Now mark out what? 8.5. After marking out 8.5, add extra 2 inches body allowance. Okay. Next thing we are going to do is to do what? The under bust, round under bust is what? 30 inches divided by 4 is what? 7.5. Mark out 7.5. Add extra 2 inches allowance. Please make sure that your allowance is uniform. It is not when you add 2 inches here, you add 1.5 here, add 1 here. No, make sure that it is 2 here, 2 here, 2 here. Okay. So the half length is what? The round waist is what? 29 inches. 29 divided by 4 is what? 7 1/4. Okay, mark out 7 1/4. Also mark out the same thing at the allowance. Are you seeing it? Add your 2 inches allowance and also add it here. Okay, now we have this point, and this point. Next thing you're going to do is to do what? Connect. You can either connect with any of your cuff set or freehand. Like I'm going to use my what? Freehand now. Okay, as you can see, I'm done connecting. So now we're almost done with the what? Upper bodice, but there's still something else remaining. That is, if you actually want to effect it, is to do what? Put a dart. Now in order for you to put a dart, there's what we call the what? Nipple to nipple. Do you understand? Or bust span. So I'm going to put a chart in for you in the description box. Please go to the description box. You are going to see a chart of what? Bust span. Okay, now what do I mean by bust span or nipple to nipple? It is the distance from the what? Left nipple to the what? Right nipple, or from the right nipple to the what? Left nipple. You can either measure it on somebody or use the chart which I'm going to provide to you in the description box. Okay, now for a bust of 34, the nipple to nipple or the bust span is what? 3.5. Okay, now mark 3.5 from the bust line. Go down and also mark what? 3.5. Now take your rule and do what? Connect. Okay, after you finish connecting, remember we are forming our what? Dart. Next thing we are going to do is to do what? Now, dart usually starts at what? It starts at what? 1 inch below the what? Bust line. Now look at the bust line. Go down by what? 1 inch. That is where the dart actually starts from. Now mark it out. Are you seeing it? Okay. Now next thing we are going to do, still on constructing the what? The dart. Okay. On this under bust, see what you are going to do. From here, mark out what? Half inch. From here to the what? This nipple point line. Okay, mark out what? Half inch. Now from here also, from here to here, mark out what? Half inch. As you can see, we have total of from here to here, which is what? 1 inch. Okay, now after doing this, next thing we are going to do is to do what? Take your tape and do what? Mark out your what? Dart. From here you connect. From here you connect. Now also look at it very well. Whatever you mark from here to here, please mark it down from here to here. Look at it from here, half inch, from here, half inch. Also do the same thing down from here, half inch, from here, half inch. So next thing we are going to do is to do what? Connect with your what? Rule. Okay, as you can see, we are done with the front part. So next thing we are going to do is to do what? To cut it out. Okay, so we are going to cut it out now. So as we are cutting it out, like I told you guys, first of all, cut out the what? The original armhole, and neglect the what? Armhole effect. For now, please neglect the what? Armhole effect for now. Okay, next thing you're also going to do is to do what? Take your scissors and notch out at the what? The dart point. Okay. Okay, next thing you're going to do is to do what? To cut out the what? Back part of the what? Upper bodice of the jumpsuit. Okay, in order to do that, look at it. Fold it the same way you folded for the front. But next thing you're going to do is to do what? In this case, mark out your what? 2 inches allowance for the what? The zipper part. Are you seeing it? Mark it out. When you mark it out, take your rule and do what? Connect. Okay, so after you finish doing that, now take the front part and place it like this. Are you seeing it? Place it so that it will position itself like this. Okay, now next thing you are going to do is to do what? First of all, take your pin and do what? Hold it so that it will not shift. Okay, after you finish holding it, next thing you need to do for me is to do what? Take your scissors and do what? Trace it out. Trace out the what? The shape. First of all, trace out the what? The shape. Okay, now after you finish tracing out the shape on this very part, as you can see, next thing you are going to do is to do what? Mark out the what? The back neck. Now for you to mark out the back neck, you need to ask yourself, do you want the back neck to be like the front neck? If so, you actually do the same thing you did on the front neck. If not, you now reconstruct your what? Back neck. Now let's say I want my back neck to actually be a v-neck. Now what I'm going to do is to do what? From this same point, are you seeing it? Both of them must start from this same point. Okay, and I ask myself, what will be the depth of the what? The v-neck. And I want the depth of the v-neck to be what? 7 inches. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is to do what? Now look at it very well. I'm going to lift up this very one and connect like this with what? V-neck. Now look at it. Okay, now I've gotten the what? The back v-neck. Next thing I'm going to do on it is to do what? I'm going to do what? Cut it out. That is how I want my back to be. If you want it to be in any other way, you actually know how to do it. Okay, now next thing I'm also going to do is to do what? Apply what I call the what? The zipper effect. Now what is this zipper effect? It is more like the same that you have here, have it at the what? Zipper part. Now look at what I'm going to do. From here, trace out your what? Underbust line. Are you seeing it? From here, still trace it out. Remember I said the same thing you did here is almost the same thing you do here. Now look at it. From here, mark out what? Half inch. Okay, from here, mark out what? Half inch. Now connect it like this. Are you seeing it? From here to here. And next thing you're going to do is to do what? Connect like this gradually till it what? It fades. Now look at it. Are you seeing it? Now what does this thing actually do? Now you notice that sometimes when you wear a cloth, you notice that the back part is so much puffing around that zip area. In order to reduce it, please add this zipper effect. It is very, very necessary. Okay, after adding it, next thing you need to do is to do what? Cut it off. Okay, so and the most final thing we need to do now is to do what? Duplicate the what? The back dart. Now in order to put the back dart, first of all, notch. Are you seeing it? From this part, notch. Okay, in order to get the what? Where the back dart is. Okay, next thing you're also going to do in order to please trace out the back dart is to do what? Now there's something I want to tell you. Remember the front dart actually started from what? 1 inch below the what? Bust line. Now please, I want you to know that back dart does not start at that same point, but they all of them hit at the same point. Now the back dart starts from what? Either at the armhole or half inch below the what? Armhole. Now look at it. Look at the way the back dart starts. Okay, see, this is where the what? The back dart starts. Okay, so in order to get your back dart, please, there's this simple way I normally teach people. Now take your pin. Are you seeing it? See where it actually starts. Pin it like this. Now when you pin it like this, next thing you're going to do is to do what? Open it up. Look at it. You are going to actually see the pin. You are going to see the pin. Look at it. Are you seeing it? Mark it out like this. Okay, do the same thing at the back. Also, take your pin. Look at it very well. Take your pin. Also pin it here. Do the same thing as I did at the upper part. Are you seeing it? Okay. Please take your pin. Also do on the other part. Make sure you pin this thing very well so that it will not shift. Do the same thing also at this very part. Okay. Please make sure you do the same thing even to the what? The down part. Look at it. Do the same thing even to the what? To the down part. Okay, so after you are done, next thing you are going to do is to do what? Remove it and do what? Take your rule and do what? Mark out your what? The back dart. Do the same thing at the other place. Okay, as you guys can see, I'm done cutting out the what? The upper bodice of the jumpsuit. So we are going to go right straight to the what? The down part, which is the what? The trouser part of the jumpsuit. Okay guys, so after cutting out the upper bodice, next thing is to cut out the what? The trouser part of the jumpsuit. So how do you fold for the trouser part of the jumpsuit? You fold with the what? The highest circumference. Now in this case, we are not making use of the what? The round hip as our highest circumference. We are making use of the what? The type, which is what? 22 inches divided by 2, which is going to give you what? 11 inches. Now mark out 11 inches and what? Fold. Now as you can see, what I have here is more than 11 inches. Now, what I'm trying to tell you is that it's not a problem whereby it is excess, or it's a problem whereby it is what? Below. Okay. Okay, so after folding your material, next is you get the what? The length of the trouser of the what? The jumpsuit. Okay, please, I want you guys to follow this method. Now, next thing you're going to do is to do what? The jumpsuit length is what? 50 inches. And the half length is what? 15 inches. Now, please subtract 15 from what? 50 inches. Now what you are going to do is 50 minus 15, which is going to give us what? 35. Okay, now 35 plus 2 inches. This 2 inches is for your what? Hemming or folding allowance. Okay, which will give you what? 37 inches. Now also add 3 inches to this 37 inches. This 3 inches is for the what? For the ease. And what is the work of the ease? Remember, when you wear a jumpsuit, sometimes when you wear a jumpsuit, you cannot be able to sit down very well, cannot be able to walk very well. Everywhere is too tight. So we've actually added allowance to it, which is what? 3 inches allowance. Okay, when you add this 37 plus 3, all you're going to get is what? 40 inches. So in that case, the length of the material you're going to cut out for your trouser will be what? 40 inches. Okay, so now we are done with that. Next thing we are going to do is, remember our tie. Remember the way I folded this material? I folded it to be SS, not exactly the 11 inches, which is what? Tie divided by 2, which is what? The tie of 22 divided by 2, which is supposed to give us 11. Okay, now impute your tie. Now look at it very well. Tie, which is what? 11 inches. See, look at it now. Tie, which is what? 22 divided by 2 will give us what? 11 inches. Now when it gives you 11 inches, immediately divide that same 11 by 2, which will give you what? 5.5. Now this particular half now you are seeing, now this middle point now you are seeing is called the what? The ghetto line, or the what? Decrease. Now it is at this point whereby you guys have seen trousers. When they finish ironing a trouser, you see the center part is too sharp. That edge you are seeing is called the what? The ghetto line, or the what? Decrease. Okay, so now do the same thing down, all the way down. Now look at it. Tie, which is what? 22 divided by 2 is what? 11. Now also divide that 11 by 2, which will give you what? 5.5. Please do it down. After you finish it, take your rule and do what? Connect the two lines. Okay, so now as you guys can see, I've actually marked the 2 points. Now how did we get this point? Remember, is your tie divided by 2, the tie 22 divided by 2, which is what? 11 inches. Are you seeing from here to here is 11 inches. Now you also divide the 11 by 2 to get the what? To get your line. So after that, next thing you are going to do is to do what? Mark out your measurement points. Now we start from the what? The crotch length. Now how do you get your crotch length? Please, I have this formula for you to get your crotch length. Okay, this formula is the round hip divided by 4 plus 3 inches. Now the round hip, which is what? 36 divided by 4 is going to give you what? 9 inches. Now add 3 inches to that 9 inches. Now you guys remember the 3 inches I added for the length of the trouser. Now that 3 inches is going to be situated at the what? The crotch region. That is why it is here. Okay, now look at it. 9 plus 3 is what? 12. In that case, your crotch length is going to be what? 12 inches. Now mark out 12 inches. Are you seeing it? Mark it out. Mark it out into 2 so as to have a straight line. Okay, so after you finish marking it out, next is the what? The hip line. Now as you guys can see, there is no measurement of the hip line here. So but there is the simplest form of getting your hip line. In order to get your hip line, always step up by 2 inches from the what? The crotch length, as you can see. Okay, now mark out your hip line. Next thing you are also going to do is to do what? Mark out your knee line. Now for you to mark out your knee line, I want you to do it in this way. Now first of all, what is your knee length? Knee length here is what? 34 inches. Please, you can as well do it this way. Since the half length is what? 15 inches. Place your tape like this, because half length is going to start from this side. Are you seeing it? So place your tape like this, 15 inches. You now measure out your what? 34 inches, which is the what? The knee line. Please place it in, mark it out into 2 so as to get a what? A straight line. After you finish, take your rule and do what? Connect. Okay, so now after you finish connecting, next thing is what? Your trouser, your jumpsuit length. Now jumpsuit length is what? 15 inches. Okay, in other words, still place your tape like this, making sure here is connecting to this part on what? 15 inches. Now mark out your what? 15 inches. Are you seeing it? Mark out your 15 inches. Now add your extra 2 inches what? Folding allowance. Now after you are done doing that, take your rule and do what? Connect. Okay, now after you are done connecting, as you can see, this is the what? The hip line. Look at it. This is the hip line. This is the what? The crotch length. Now this is the what? The knee line. This is the what? The jumpsuit full length. Okay, jumpsuit full length, and this is the what? The folding allowance. Now we are done doing this thing. Next thing we are going to do is to do what? Properly construct the what? The crotch. Please, if you have not watched how to cut a trouser, both the male and female, please make sure you go and watch it. Just check out my videos, make sure you watch it. Watch that one first before coming over to this one. Okay, so let me continue. In order to construct the crotch, there is this simplest method that I usually use. Now what is that method? Method is what? The round hip divided by 4, which is what? Now impute your what? Round hip. The round hip divided by 4 is going to give us what? Round hip, which is what? 36 divided by 4 is going to give us what? 9 inches. Now mark out your hip measurement. 9 inches. Are you seeing it? From here to here, 9 inches. Please also mark it at this upper point. Now look at it. Mark it at this upper part. Okay. Now you have this point and this point. Please take your rule and do what? Connect. Connect it to the what? The crotch length. Please connect it to the what? The crotch length. Because we are actually constructing the what? The crotch. Okay. Now when you connect it to the crotch length, next thing you are going to do is to do what? Mark out your what? Crotch curve. Now in order to mark out the crotch curve, as you can see, I normally use this method of what? Place it diagonally, your tape diagonal from here to here, mark out what? 1 inch. Now when you mark out 1 inch, you can either use your what? French curve, your rule set, or you can actually use your what? The free hand to connect. Now look at it. Remember, our measurement starts from here to this point, which is what? 11 inches. Okay, so now we are done doing what? Marking out our what? Crotch. Next thing we are going to do is to what? Impute your what? Round knee and what? Round ankle. So impute your round knee. Now check out your round knee here. Round knee here is what? 16 inches. Please, I want you to divide it by 4. There is a reason why I am dividing it by 4. Now 16 divided by 4 is going to give us what? 4 inches. Now see what I want you to do. From here, from here to here, mark out 4 inches. Are you seeing it? Now also do the same thing here. From here to here, mark out 4 inches. This is the reason why I am actually dividing it into 4, so that it will be easier for us to know that you impute 4 here, impute 4 here. Okay, the same thing goes to the down part. Now the ankle is what? 14 inches. 14 divided by 4, which is going to give us what? 3.5. Now from here, mark out what? 3.5. From here, mark also what? 3.5. Please do the same thing at the down part. 3.5 and what? 3.5. Now when you are done, next thing you are going to do is to do what? Take your rule and do what? Connect, in order to form the what? The shape of the trouser. Okay, now after you are done, next thing you need to do is to do what? You cut it off. Okay. Okay, now guys, as you can see, after you are done cutting it off, next thing you need to do is to do what? Construct the what? Take this front part and do what? Cut out the back part. Now looking at this thing here, you notice that it does not have any extra allowance in front. Yes, that is how I actually cut my trousers. The trouser does not have allowance in front, rather the allowance comes at the what? The back part. Okay, so now make sure you fold your fabric, the back part of your fabric, the same way you folded for the what? Front. But in this case, there's something you need to do. There's something you must do. Please make sure that the back part which you folded is what? 3 inches wider than the front part, and what? 1 inch what? Longer. Please make sure that the back part which you've actually folded is what? 3 inches wider than the what? Front part, and what? 1 inch longer. Okay, now look at it now. When I place it, as you guys can see, it is 3 inches wider here, and it is what? 1 inch longer. So okay, next thing we are going to do is what? Now look at it very well. Next thing we are going to do is what? From here, mark out 2 inches. Look at it. It can also be 1.5 or even 1, depending on the measurement of the person. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm be making use of what? 2 inches. Now I'll be marking it out 2 inches. Now when you reach at this very part, remember what I said, it's supposed to be what? 3 inches or more. But for the sake of this tutorial, make use of what? 3 inches. Now here is 3 inches. Please from here, be doing what? Be descending. Now here should be what? 2.5. Here should be what? 2 inches. Now take it 2 inches down. Okay, as you guys can see, I'm done with that. So next thing you need to do is to do what? Connect. Either with your curve set or with your what? Rule. Okay. As you guys can see, I'm actually connected. So there's also another connection we need to make. Now look at it. Take your rule from here. Are you seeing it? Both the front and back must be equal by the side, but at the center part, the back part should be what? 1 inch longer than the what? The front part. Now look at it. Take it and do what? Place it like this and do what? Mark. Okay, have you now seen it? Both two sides are what? Equal. But at the middle part, the back is longer with what? 1 inch. Take your scissors and do what? Cut it off. Okay, as you can see, after you finish cutting it off, there's something else I want you guys to do. Please, there's something else I want, very, very important. Now, when you finish making a trouser, you notice that sometimes when you are coupling, when you are sewing it, you notice that at this middle part, one is longer than the other. So in order for you to avoid it, please, first of all, do this thing. Do it as if you are sewing it, sewing both of them together. Are you seeing it? Place it like this. Place it like this. When you place it, make sure you place it like this. Are you seeing it? Both of them are actually equal. But assuming one is longer, let's say example, this particular one is longer with what? ½ inch. All you need to do is to do what? Mark it out. Then after marking it out, place it like this. Are you seeing it? Place it like this. Then do what? Cut it off like this. That is how to do it. So at the end of the day, when you are sewing it, everything should be what? Equal. Okay. So next thing also is to know where your back dart is supposed to be. Please, the back dart is supposed to be what? Wherever the front dart is. Are you seeing it? Look at it. Follow this. Are you seeing it? That is where the back dart is. And this is, if you're actually putting that in front, this is where the front dart should be. Okay. So now look at it very well. This is actually our what? Jumpsuit. As you can see. Now when you place it like this, okay. So you can see, when you place it like this, this is the what? The upper bodice, and this is what? The down part. When you place it like this, you can actually see the what? The full view of our what? Jumpsuit. So please, I hope you understand this thing. But if there's still any part confusing you, I want you to make sure you comment in the comment section, and make sure you actually ask your question. Be free to ask your question, and I promise to answer each and every question that you people ask. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel if you are new, and make sure you click on that like button. Please, the more we like this video, then in my next particular video concerning about jumpsuit, I'm going to make a shirt jumpsuit. Please, I promise you guys. So make sure you click on that subscribe button, and make sure you click on that like button. Thank you very much, and may God bless you. It's still your one and only CeeFashion Academy.